is Giordano Cossu. I'm a journalist and documentary maker, and I'm Italian and I live in France. I have a passion for African issues, which is the reason for this film. My documentary talks about Rwanda 20 years after the genocide. It's a documentary made in 2014, okay, for the anniversary of the genocide, and it describes the life in a small village of Rwanda, really in the hills, in the countryside, where the people which used to live there before the genocide have come back to live, and that includes both survivors of the genocide, but also those who were killers during the genocide, which have now come out of prison. So the film is about the complex relationships that are made between the different characters, each with the different stories, and how they see life today, reconciliation after the genocide from different points of view, that of killers, that of victims, but also analyzes the complex reality of rural life, the problems of the land, the difficulties to make a living, and therefore how the struggle of living together. The film was shot and produced over 8 months. There was also a tight deadline because it had to be published for the first time on the web in occasion of the 20th anniversary, and so we had to do really quickly, and that included 3.5 months in Rwanda, walking from village to village, talking to people. So a considerably long time to make people feel at ease, find the good characters, and let them speak openly. And I would also say for me to really understand what is going on in Rwanda behind the official, let's say, official discourse, official propaganda about the situation now. I think that what happened in Rwanda probably touched many people around the world, and I kept reading about it, and I was really curious to see myself, have my own impressions about how you can rebuild a country, society, social links between people and relationship, because the headlines of the world, I mean, tell us that this kind of situation is far from being unlikely. It can happen, it does happen in many places in different forms. So this was the initial motivation that then when I first went to Rwanda for the 15th anniversary in 2009, I met certain characters and people that told me sort of some untold sides of the story, which made me even more curious to go deeper into that. And that's when I decided I wanted to make a full documentary about it. It took me a while to set it up and produce it, but I really wanted to do it. And I think it gives answers not just about Rwanda, but about about mankind, really, what we are capable of doing and how we can avoid to repeat the same mistakes. The film has been published online in an interactive format, in a web documentary format, on RFI, Radio France Internationale and France 24 website, but it can be found also in its own link, which is Rwanda20yearson.net. Which the entire web documentary is there, and also a part of the photographic project which was associated with the documentary, which was then made into an exhibition which is now touring different countries. The idea is that of course, through the web documentary, we learn about feelings and relationships in Rwanda, but then the photographic exhibition allows people to react to that and say, okay, what would I do if I were in the same situation? What feelings does it give to me, and what reflections I can make about that. So the plan, for that reason, the exhibition is also used to have younger generations in Europe and in other places come visit and reflect in a different way about Rwanda. Let's say it's always a problem when you shoot a documentary and you would like, obviously, your characters to watch it. In linear format, the way it's screened today, for example, it's more difficult, although I would like that to be screened in Rwanda one day. The web obviously helps a lot because that's public. So there are Rwandans, if I can check the statistics of where it's been seen, there are many people in Rwanda who have seen it and therefore perhaps even reacted on it on social networks about whether they thought that what was there was corresponding to their reality or not, etc. And also Rwandans in many other countries, because there's a very strong Rwandan diaspora everywhere. Then it would be nice. I doubt that the people in the film, the characters, had the chance to watch it, because they were simply in the village where I was. Hardly there was electricity, and there were no computers, and there's no knowledge of web as such. So, but that doesn't mean that it will not be possible later. And also, I would say that because this topic is very, very sensitive, although all that is said there is not controversial, because it's really the way people perceive their reality. It would be interesting to see how, if there was a screening, for example, precisely in that village, how people would react. For me, a documentary is always one step of the journey that continues. Even watching it and seeing the reaction to it adds a lot to the same story. So that's something I would really like to do in the future.